My guest this time is a former member of Murderdolls and now the lead guitarist of Genitorturers, Eric Griffin, is with me. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Yeah, it's a pleasure for me. At first, I want to know how the music came in your life, Eric.
Oh, boy. How did the music come into my life? I was a very young child, and I can't remember what happened first. I think I saw a television show that was featuring them on one of their late 70s tours, and it was either that or my cousins may have played me their music on an old vinyl record player, but for sure Kiss kind of got me going at a really, really young age, and then later like Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, bands like that. And then I had a friend who was probably the closest thing to a big brother I ever had, and I actually reconnected with him on a trip home recently, but he kind of introduced me to what we could call real metal, which would be bands like Iron Maiden and Metallica and Black Sabbath and Ozzy. So, you know, somewhere along the lines, I always had a mix of you know, real metal, I guess they would call it, but I always had something for theatrical bands and bands that were kind of superheroes, image-wise. You know, and as I got into playing rock music growing up, I also, you know, became a student of music. So that made me diversify and listen to probably, like, you know, I just kind of think there's two genres in music. There's good music and there's bad music. And I think every different style has something to offer, and I try to be well-rounded in what I listen to, but I think, you know, really evil, glam, heavy metal has always been my favorite.
My next question for you is go like this. Your entire career is based on horror, black humor, sex, drug, rock and roll. Why do you use these terms? Why is this words, can be your favorite in the song? Why do you use this style?
You know, I think I based probably the first couple of decades of my rock and roll career on the question, what would Nikki Sixx do? I've always been into kind of the dark side of things, and I guess I've been rebellious in nature, and you know, I always question. I've always been the type of person to question sort of what's established and what's been presented to me, and I just basically it's the same thing. I've always liked bands that kind of go against the grain. Even in the world of rock and roll, kind of felt like a misfit. Never been able to kind of quite find my place where I fit in, and I think the music that I listen to and the music that I enjoy reflects that. And those bands always just seem to be into the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing, I guess. I'm not promoting bad behavior, or am I? I guess I have been for quite some time. I don't know if that answers your question.
How your family live with your music style? I don't know if I can say this, but your love for the 666 number and Satan.
Oh, right. Well, I guess that's what I was just trying to touch on. My infatuation with the devil. I think I worship the devil kind of in the same way that I worship Darth Vader. He's just kind of the greatest supervillain ever. I've always been into characters that had devil horns, whether they were Japan-made robots with devil horns like Guy King and things like that. He's a really great character, let's just put it that way. The movies that scared me the most were like The Exorcist and the Amityville Horror, because excuse me, I always figured I could run away from a guy with a chainsaw pretty quick. But, you know, things that had to do with the very force of evil itself taking control was always terrifying. So, yeah, great character, great villain, the devil. Love that guy. The other thing is there is a philosophical nature of Satanism, which is that of the eternal rebel, the one who questions what is established, the one who goes against the grain. And I've always kind of related to that. Also, the character of Lucifer, who is essentially cast out for wanting to be creative like God, and for wanting to create beauty like God. And I guess I've sort of always related to that too. You know, whether it be the way I look or the music I listen to or play, I've always felt I was just trying to do something beautiful and something that was great. And I feel like I've been often cast out by, I guess, what you would call normal, or even not normal, for those things. So I guess I relate a little bit to the character of the eternal rebel, the questioner, the one who goes against. I guess that sums it all up. Excuse me?
Your family is proud of what you do?
Yes, very much. I literally just got back from a visit with my mom a few days ago. And, you know, some of her family, I think they think I'm a little weird, but, you know, they get by now that it's not some weird phase, and they know that I'm a good person, and they know that it's really, really challenging to have any level of success doing what you love, and doing what you want to do and not what you think you have to do. And I think, in a weird way, that makes them proud of me. My father passed away 15 years ago now, but when he passed, I was actually on tour with the Murderdolls. And so it's fortunate that it's good that he got to kind of see me doing my thing, because I think a lot of my career has sort of been motivated by just wanting to prove to him that I could do it. So that was pretty cool. The one thing that kind of sucked was when I was in Wednesday, I opened for Alice Cooper at a venue called the Orpheum in Boston. And, you know, my dad hated everything that I listened to it. He called it headache music and all this, but he loved Alice Cooper. I had The Nightmare Returns on VHS, and whenever I was watching it, he would come in and sit down with me. He'd be like, "This guy's really cool. I like this guy." So, you know, opening for Alice at a big venue in the city I grew up in would have been cool if he was there, but I'm pretty sure he was. So, yeah. So, yeah, I think my family's cool with it.
At your point of view, you name Murderdolls. Do you think is the biggest push you have in your career?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for sure, the Murderdolls was the biggest thing I've done, and I'm very lucky to have done it. I got to do a lot of really, really cool things, played for a lot of people in a lot of countries, and had a lot of good times.
You have played with Wednesday 13 and George Ordison. What's your point of view about this two person?
Well, you know, I didn't speak with them for a long time, but I've reconnected with Wednesday to a certain degree, and you know, I like his music. I respect him, what he's doing. I haven't spoken to Joey in probably about 7 years. I wish him the best in his struggles with his health. And, you know, he presented me an opportunity to do a lot of really great things, and I'll always be grateful for that. Beyond that, I don't really have a lot to say. I know Wednesday's got a new record out, and I've heard a couple of tracks. Seems pretty cool. Wish him the best. And, yeah, that was a really, really great band. the Murderdolls. I think we had a pretty big impact. Maybe more than some people realize. I think we were. I think we influenced of what's been happening, and I think that's something that we should all be proud of.
You don't be in the second album of Murderdolls, but do you think it's possible if Murderdolls have a reunion, you play in the third album?
I guess that would be a question for another time. I would first have to be asked. And if I was asked, it would have to be a fair deal. And then, at that point, I would think about it. I really can't say right now. I know there's been a couple of things that have been, Wednesday said a couple of things, but, nothing's been discussed, and I don't really have a definitive answer for you on that. I guess if it presented itself, we would have to see.
Eric, next for you, talk to me about Genitorturers. It's your band. Can you talk about the music, the vision, and also the performance of the band in the show?
Of the Genitorturers. I mean, as far as the vision, that's really would have to be a question for Jen. Jen has been, she's been around doing this band for 30 years, really. The first record, I believe, is 26 years ago now. And she was a pioneer in, theatrical shock rock, in the vein of Marilyn Manson. I know they both came out of the South Florida scene, and I think she had a lot of influence in a lot of things that have happened since. I also will say it's hard to keep a band together for 5 years or 2 years or a year. So to keep going 25 years, it's pretty awesome. I was a fan of the band long before I was ever in it. I've been playing with her since, I think, late 2009 now. So it's been a while. The band's always kind of challenged what's acceptable morally and otherwise. It's not quite as subversive as maybe it was. It's not quite as scary as it was in the 90s. I mean, nothing shocking anymore. And I think, unfortunately, there's a little bit of a limit to what happens on stage because, everybody in the crowd has a camera. Yeah. Everybody in the crowd is posting things immediately onto the internet. And so, I think we're kind of a really dark rock and roll band at this point. It's still, I definitely see some weird things that I'll probably never understand, but, it's fun. It's all in a good time.
Are you cool with all that you've seen in the show?
Am I cool with all that I've seen in the shows? No. Let's just say that there's a lot of things that happen, and from my perspective on stage, I have literally the worst view in the house. So I try to keep over in my little corner when all that stuff starts to go on and go down.
Next question for you. What's your opinion of the Quebec and Montreal crowd? I know that you have played Montreal before.
Oh, yeah, Canada's great. It's too cold, and every time I go there, we usually have to wade through snowbanks and rivers of ice to load in. But other than that, it's always a fun time. It's a cold fun time, but it's a fun time. You're really into the glam rock in Canada, into rock and roll, and I don't think I've ever done a bad show up there.
Just to close, the last question for you. What's next for you? What do you want to accomplish in your future, in your career? Give me some details of your future.
Well, I think the one thing that's really left for me to do, and I'm not not ruling out any as far as playing with other people, but I think I'd like to, before Murderdolls, I think I was a little bit more creatively active. I had a band that I was doing called Cynical at the time, and I've recorded with them as well on and off in the years since, but I kind of really bailed on my own musical vision to play in other people's bands, essentially. And I think the thing that I'd like to do is really put my own stamp creatively on something, do something that's more mine than anybody else's. Do something, release an album. I don't really know. But the last year, just kind of rehabbing from a surgery that I had. I screwed up my neck performing, and if you've seen me play, you know what I mean by that. So I really just kind of stepped away for a minute. I had another band I was doing a couple of years ago called 6 Days Till Sunday that I really enjoyed, and we were doing well, but I couldn't participate fully. Because I was having problems with my neck at the time, and I was having numbness issues in my hand, and that sort of fell apart for one reason or another, and that was a bummer. But post surgery, I've just been kind of getting my health together and trying to get to a point where I can really just dive full on into doing something creatively. Something that's more my own. So that's what I'd like to do, is just, finish what I started.
Eric Griffin, thank you for your time. It's very appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a nice day.